Hi, this is Pete's Perfect Food, back here with a cracking old video for you, and today we're going to be making one of my favourites, sun-dried tomatoes, and this is an absolute cracking store cupboard staple. I use it all the time. It's going to serve you well, and it means you don't waste any food. And at the moment, with COVID-19, you need to save all your money you can. So, let's hop into it. Right, so for this recipe, what you need is 2 kilos of vine tomatoes. If you can't find vine tomatoes, that's absolutely fine, don't worry about it. But vines gives you more flavour, and it's going to make the whole thing better, because we're going to roast the vines as well to give you a lovely flavour. Whenever you go into a greenhouse and you smell tomatoes, it's not the tomatoes you're actually smelling, it's actually the vines. So that's why I add it onto this, to give it more flavour. I've got some British cold seed rapeseed oil, which is going to be beautiful, just to cover the sun-dried tomatoes in. I'm going to put some garlic in with the oil. Then there's the herby salt, which I'm going to show you in a video in the next couple of weeks. And then there's some chilli and roasted garlic oil, which I'm going to put on top of the tomatoes to oven cook. And that's going to take a good couple of hours, but it's well worth it. So I'm going to show you what to do next. Right, so first things first. When this is half the tomatoes, I'm going to keep the vines like this on top of the tomatoes, so when it roasts, it's going to give it a beautiful flavour, which will absolutely make the sun-dried tomatoes, when it comes to the end product, a lot better. And then literally I've got 2 baking sheets. I'm going to cut them all in half and lay them out ready, just to season them up, and a bit of the herb salt and the chilli garlic oil, and then just bang them in the oven for about 2.5–3 hours, give or take, and then leave them overnight. Right, so as you can see, I've literally just cut them in half onto the 2 trays, and as you can see, I've just put the vines on the top. Now all you need to do now is put a lot of salt on them, because the salt will draw out most of the moisture out of the tomatoes, and that's exactly what you want. And then all I'm going to just do is a little bit of the chilli garlic oil over the top, and then put them in the oven, and they're ready to go. Right, so this is my herby salt. It's got parsley in it, it's got oregano in it, it's got basil in it, whizzed up. But again, like I said, I'll show you in the next couple of videos. And you want a good amount here, so you really want to make sure this is well coated all over the things, all over the tomatoes, sorry. And I'll show you exactly how much I've put on. But this is really important to make sure that these are well dehydrated, because otherwise they'll end up fermenting, and we don't really want fermented tomatoes. It's not the best thing in the world. I mean, even though you could use them, they're much better if they're sun-dried. Right, so as you can see, there's a lot of salt on there, and that's really, really important. So again, now what I've got to do is get my chilli oil, and I'm going to just quickly splash it all over the top, and then it's straight into the oven. Right, so the tomatoes are ready now. I'm going to put them in the oven. It's at 180. I'm going to give it literally maybe 2.5, maybe 3 hours, depending on the size of them, see how long it takes to cook down. Everyone's oven's slightly different, but I think mine's going to take about 2.5 hours, and then leave it overnight, leave it to rest, and then tomorrow I'm going to finish off this video. Right, so the tomatoes have now had 2.5 hours. I'm going to leave it in the oven overnight, just so that it'll dehydrate as much as humanly possible. And then what I'll do is tomorrow I'm going to show you what to do, how to put it in the jar, finish off the recipe, and then it can be ready, stored in your cupboard for whenever you need it. Right, so these are the tomatoes 24 hours after being cooked in the oven. As you see, they're really nice, they're beautifully cooked. The vines have done the jobs, so what I'm going to do now is finish off the job. So first things first, I've literally done the jar, I've sterilised it in a hot oven at 140 for 15 minutes. Or if you've got a dishwasher, you can use the hot setting for 15 minutes, do a quick wash, and that will keep it sterilised. But that's all ready to be done. So I'm just going to literally layer it up now and show you what to do and how to finish this off. Right, so as you can see, what I've done is I've started putting in the tomatoes into the jar. All the juices that are on the bottom of the tray as well, that's gone in there as well. And then I'm going to finish off the other tray, fill it up to the top, and then I'm going to put some little goodies in, top it up with the oil. Now please make sure when you've put the oil in that the tomatoes are always left under the oil, otherwise the tops of tomato will go off even if they're in an airtight jar. It's very easy to be done. Right, so as you can see, it's not quite filled to the top, but that's absolutely fine. There's not a problem with that at all. Right, so just to add into the jar, there's the vine leaves that was in the roasting tin with the tomatoes, that's going in. A chilli, because I love chilli. You can go whatever you like. Basil leaves, but tomato and basil, always a winner. And a little bit of garlic. So all I'm going to do is put those in the jar, top it up with the rapeseed oil again, and then it's ready to be served. Right, so there's the finished product. So as you can see, it's all underneath there. It took about 350 mils of rapeseed oil. But again, if it's a bigger jar, it'll take more, so you've got to play with that. Also, when you finish with the tomatoes, the oil, do not throw that away. That's so full of flavour and it's ready for a start of, say, a risotto or any dish you want. So do not throw that away either.